go. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Inspiring Connections, episode 11. How you doing, Misty?
I'm doing good. Hi, everyone.
Today, we have a very special guest, someone that's very well known online. If you're on Twitter for any length of time, hopefully you follow him. And we're talking about who?
We're talking about Calvin Lee, and on Twitter, he is known as at Mayhem Studios.
Absolutely. And now Calvin is very influential, and plus he's a really nice guy. And he's going to share all kinds of tips
Yes.
on how he's built his influence.
And for those of you who also want to build your own influence online and on social media, this is the best episode you should be listening to.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So we're not going to waste any time.
No.
We're going to get right into it with Calvin Lee, Mayhem Studios of Twitter. Calvin, welcome to PodJam TV Live.
Hey guys, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good.
And congratulations for being top 50 social media influencers on Forbes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Now, can you tell us a little bit about that? Now, that's a pretty big honor, and there's some pretty big names on that list. How does one get to be a top 50 influencer on Forbes? That's pretty cool.
I don't know.
But I read the article, and it did say there that the people who were included there was gauged because of their online influence.
Yeah.
The number of people who actually talk to them on stream, the people that they talk to, and they also calculated something on being present offline as well.
There was some science to that, which was good to see. You know, so it's real influence.
Yeah. So when I saw Calvin, I was like, yay!
Exactly.
I never know like how much influence I really have.
Yep.
You do.
Oh, you have a lot of influence. Absolutely.
Believe us, you do.
So you know, you're very involved in social media online for many years. When did you first start being active on social media, and what is your favorite social media platform?
I think I started part before like the Twitter stuff. I started kind of like on AOL and stuff like that. I guess before it was called social media. So it was like kind of social there a lot, but then I guess that kind of died when Twitter popped up. And probably everybody knows Twitter is probably my number one social media network.
Oh,
that's where I built everything, and that's where I met you guys, and
yes,
probably like 90% of people I know now is from there.
But you're also active on Facebook, right, as well as Google Plus.
Yeah, those are kind of like I kind of have to do it kind of thing. Where Twitter is more like my passion.
That's where you like talking to people, right?
Right, but even though now it seems kind of like everything's shifting away from Twitter, it seems like maybe because there's too much noise, and I'm just not getting as many responses as before. Even though people probably still like read my stuff, they just don't respond as much for some reason.
Right. Yeah. So, I found. Go ahead, Cal.
So that's why now I get more interaction on kind of more like on Facebook and Instagram even more than I do on Twitter. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but still, you would notice that your people are still following you on Twitter. Yeah.
Do you find that it was more conversational back then versus maybe now, where obviously there's a lot more users and maybe you know, like you say, more noise?
Because I think everybody's doing what I did back then, where I was pushing out like content. Now I just go to different sites and try to find the best content I can, just to push it out, and nobody knew about where I got it from because I'm just like searching all the time. But I guess now everybody's figured out like where all the sites are at and where all the good stuff is at. So they're just plugging everything into RSS feed, and they're just pushing that like 24/7.
Right. Yeah.
So it's now like something that I did that in the beginning. Everybody's doing it. It's like feel like I'm kind of drowned out a little bit, or I don't know. So I'm trying to find a little more like unique kind of links instead of like Mashable and where everything's going to.
Yeah.
It seems like if I say something more like some kind of statement or something or some kind of opinion, then I get like a rush of responses instead of just pushing out retweets or whatever. I don't seem to get as many engagement as much as that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like I noticed that too. That's
Yep.
why whenever I would curate my tweets as well, I would look for tweets that aren't really like shared by everybody else. And if I do find something, and I'm sure you do the same way, it's like you just retweet some of those like stuff that are being retweeted a lot.
Or I found what you mentioned before, pushing out links versus maybe having an opinion and stating opinion, and kind of starting taking a stance on something, and versus just pushing out the links and starting a conversation that way. Maybe that's.
I think like a year back, I think Robert Scoble and Chris Brogan had a discussion about that, where who would get more like retweets or more engagement. Having like I think Chris Brogan, someone has set up just a feed where he just pushed out like only his links, only links, of good links, not just his, versus Robert Scoble's no links and just only like engagement. To see which ones would get more. But I think I forget which one. I forgot who won, but I think Chris might have won with more links.
Really?
I guess, like. Yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, that kind of goes against a lot of what a lot of people say about kind of being robotic and just pushing out stuff without the conversation and without the personality. Yeah,
it's just I don't know. It's just changes. It seems like all the time. Every couple of months, it's like different.
Yeah. Now you have a very unique Twitter handle, Mayhem Studios, and I know that you're also a designer, and would love to get into a little bit of talking about that as well. I'm not sure if everyone knows that, but where did the handle Mayhem Studios come from?
It was kind of by accident, because I was spending like I wanted to start like a name, like a unique name. I was spending like weeks, like doing thumbnails and like just like writing different names, like my name. I didn't want to just do my name. I wanted to do like my business name, like. But I just gave up, got tired. Let me stop and let me just like come back to it a little bit later. And then I was doing like shopping or something, and also Mayhem Studios popped in my head. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just tired. Let me just use this name for the meantime until I like
And then it caught on, right?
And then I kept on using it. And I became kind of a little popular, and then like got stuck and like just couldn't change it anymore.
Yeah.
So that was your business name before any kind of online activity, and you just decided to take that in lieu of trying to think of something else.
Actually, I think I didn't even have that name.
Because he's a designer, so that's why.
Yeah, I didn't even have a name. I don't think I even had Mayhem Studios before.
Yeah.
Before that came up.
So Mayhem Studios is the name of your design firm. Can you tell I'm not sure if everyone really realizes that you are a designer. That's really your first.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird. So I think when I first started Twitter, when I went to go to like in real life meetings or whatever, and like tweet ups, they never knew who that was a designer. They thought I was like a social media person, but I wasn't really a social media person. I was like a designer. It's just kind of like funny how it just turned out that way.
Like the reason I started following you before was because you were a designer. I was learning how to, as a designer, how am I gonna thrive on Twitter? So it's like I saw Calvin tweeting out a lot of design links before. And
I kind of like lost that community a little bit because I started out as a niche. It's just I only
you had that niche.
That's all I did, and then all of a sudden, like I don't know what happened. One day, I just like
now suddenly
maybe like branch out.
Yeah, on social media, right?
Yeah. When I branched out, that's where I kind of like really blew up. But then also at the same time, I also kind of lost my that community. They got kind of upset.
Oh boy.
Like what happened to all the design stuff? Why is all this other social media coming out? Something that has nothing to do with design. It's like I said, I just tweet and try to live my life the way
the way you like it.
That's stuff that I tweet now, like food and travel.
Yeah,
That makes me happy right now.
which
Design.
which is great because
Yeah.
that's how social media is.
Oh, yeah.
You should be talking
Yeah,
about
sharing your life.
what
you
you're
know,
passionate
and
about,
activities.
your activities.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be about work or one topic.
Yeah.
I mean, people like to be well-rounded and into various things. Getting back to more social media topics, I don't know if you want to take this question here.
Yeah, how did you increase your following? And then for those new on wherever platform, probably of course Twitter would be, I guess, the best. Is what tips can you give in order for them to increase their
Like just
following?
like being like a good curator of information. And then just thinking about your followers, what kind of followers you have, and what do they like and don't like. And what I noticed that when I was doing design stuff, a lot of people were not just only designers; they were like new businesses and small businesses. They can't afford designers, or or don't know anything about design. So I would push that kind of like just beginner stuff out. But when I pushed out like too advanced stuff, they couldn't get it because I could notice the retweets there were not as many. Or if I do like beginner stuff, that's what I guess what your Twitter is kind of for more like for beginners. So when I pushed that kind of stuff, I got a lot of retweets and people wanted more that kind of stuff. So I researched that kind of stuff more.
Yeah, I guess it's also because we tend to forget that most of our social media friends are already social media savvy, but there's still a lot of people joining Twitter.
A lot of new people, yeah.
But they're still new and they're still learning. And of course, they would look up like to someone like you, Calvin, for information.
Right. And then like let me see. Also like be like a resource to people.
Yeah.
Like answer the questions and what they ask, even though we might not know the answer. Find the answer for them so that you kind of become the expert, like in that area. Maybe you could learn something also and go in that field as well.
Yeah, I remember the first time we were tweeting out, and I had so many questions on Twitter, and I would DM Calvin. It's like, Calvin, how do I do this again? It's like, oh, do this, do that. He was
very patient, yeah,
and very patient. I guess that's one reason why a lot of people are gravitating to Calvin, is that it's because he's very helpful, and even when you meet him in person, it's like. Yeah, he's the same way.
Yeah, you know what? That's something I think we need to really bring home here is that on social, and I'm not sure if you find the same thing, but it's so easy to hide behind that avatar and kind of put up a fake front and kind of be fake, and you don't know who you're talking to sometimes. But I know with you, and we can certainly vouch for that, and I know there are many people that can. I think that's one of the things that we find is you can be successful with is be yourself, be authentic, and also help people. I mean, that's something that we find with you is that you're always willing to help people, always willing to give. And I'm not sure about you, but I know when we do that, it tends to come back. Do you find the same thing for you?
Yes, I do too. Also, that's why I guess we don't expect anything in return.
Yeah,
We kind of get it back, or it's just like I don't know, things just happen.
Right. Yeah.
It just kind of like fall in place, but sometimes a little frustrating. Like maybe you don't feel as appreciated.
Right. Yeah, or I tend to sometimes you tend to see people maybe feel entitled, and for those of you that are new, or even those of you that are experienced, that's not a good way to go. I mean, people, I think they might find that might have some success short term, but you really got to think it's a long-term game, and the best thing you can possibly do is be authentic, be yourself, and you will attract the right people to you. One of the things we mentioned before we went on and when we introducing you is that we've met you in person several times in several different cities, usually around either conferences or events and things like that. And we see you attending a lot of events and conferences. What are the benefits that one can get from attending conferences and being social online and offline?
I guess when you like go to the conference and actually meet, because I want to meet the actual people that I've talked online, so that kind of helps to build the bond a little bit deeper. And just you could see how they really are or not really are.
Oh yeah,
that's the way they really look or not really look. So
surprise.
You gotta build like a trust. When you meet them, it just feels like you're like you've known each other for like 10 or 20 years. Like, it doesn't feel awkward.
That's so true.
Yeah. So you build that bond, and then it's like when you need help, you don't really have to ask for help. Really, when you build that bond, you just like, you need something, like you need a retweet. I don't even have to ask for retweet. Sometimes people just retweet me.
Yep.
And if I do need a retweet, I'll like DM, can you help me? And then they really don't question,
Yeah. Because they trust you. They've met you.
They don't really question what the thing is. They just do it without even reading it. The same thing with like network. It's kind of like networking, where it's, I don't know, it's a little bit easier. Networking when it's already the bond is already built, and so a lot of times people reach out like, oh, I need help with this, and can you help me with this? And it's kind of like, just connecting people together too, when they need help, like connecting with somebody that's who they need, to get their jobs done. So.
That's
yeah, it's very true.
That.
I mean, one of the things I know we discussed is, one of the ways we see social media is nowadays that you're kind of enlarging the pond, or enlarging your sphere of possible contacts and meeting people. Now it's global. I mean, back in the day before social media, it was where you were physically. Your just your physical location that tended to be pretty small unless you traveled a lot. But now it's global. I mean, Misty and I met because of social media. I mean, I would never have met her or you, Calvin, or a lot of people that we're friends with if it wasn't for social. And then the next step, like we talked about, being in person, that sort of seals the deal, and kind of that's the next step, And I think people might think that maybe socials or just being online is enough, and it's a whole different level when you meet someone in person. And if you can, it's great, And
I also love the way Calvin said it. He said that it brings people closer together, and there's a bond that you can't explain. I guess it's like, I guess when you see each other in person, and you've communicated, the communication on social media will be a little different.
Yeah,
like,
do you find that, right, Cal?
Yeah.
It's just a totally different level, Now we've mentioned that, obviously I think that people that know Calvin know, I mean, you're very influential online. You've been online for a long time. You're very trusted. If other people that are fairly new, or maybe having trouble kind of grasping what it's all about, and maybe, trying to gain some success on social media, if they want their influence to increase, what are some of the steps they can take to increase their influence?
It's kind of tough one, because I don't know, I just do kind of what I do, and it just came for me. So I wasn't really didn't really try to do it. But I guess it's just stuff like, before, just being able to engage people, and just to answer questions, just help everybody out, and just be nice to everybody.
Yeah,
a lot of it is just helping, and be generous, retweeting other people's blog posts that you find interesting. So, and then it kind of builds your influence, because if you push out good information and other people's information, they're all going to retweet. They retweeted you, and they're going to engage you more. But that's what I did with Guy Kawasaki in the very beginning, back in 2008 when I first started.
Yeah.
So me and my friend, Andy Sowers, I don't know if you know him.
Oh yeah, Andy.
Yeah, Andy, of course.
And Richard, from and then we would all retweet each other, and kind of it was we had a little team of retweeting each other or whatever, just building our. At that time, we didn't see it as influence,
right?
Yep.
But I guess we had a little team going on with friendships back and forth.
Yes.
And a lot of them have dropped off now since the past couple of years, but me and Andy are still kind of doing that, and that's how he built up. That's how we became friends, and we just that's how me and him would talk about how to get. One day maybe we could become like Guy Kawasaki status. It's funny. And I just came up retweeting the hell out of him, and in conversation. Told his name in there, and one day he just answered me.
But you know what? That's a good point. Retweeting somebody, especially, it will open a relationship, because you kind of oh, somebody retweeted me. Who's this person? Right. And then you guys start conversing.
Yeah, kind of building it organically. You're not.
Yes.
I think people think that you can push a magic button and
No.
all of a sudden you have this network. But it's just like any other networking opportunity. It takes time. One of the other things that, I tell people is that, when you meet someone for the first time, you're not their best buddy right away. It takes time to build that relationship, over time, and you're patient and you build it naturally. It's just the social media enlarges the pool and enables you to meet people you normally wouldn't be able to meet. So I one of the things we see you do is you do it very organically over a long period, and we've watched you for a very long period of time. But it's that organic way of doing it. Just one step at a time, be very authentic, and there's really no magic pill, I guess, that you can point to or take.
It's hard to explain because I just kind of fell into it. It's like, I don't know what I did really, kind of.
Yeah.
But like you being helpful is one thing. It's not you don't create drama. That's another thing that I love about Calvin is I don't see him, engaging in all drama. He's just him.
Yeah.
He shares with us what he likes, what he loves, the food.
Yep.
I love your food pictures. I even
Makes us hungry.
It makes me hungry all the time.
Yes.
And then whenever he travels, he always makes sure to share whatever experience he has. Like, he finds a new gadget, he shares it. Or even on Cloud, I remember like whenever I watch your stream, it's like, oh, I got this Cloud perk, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna grab that. But that's it.
Yeah.
See, it's fun. It's fun following Cloud.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just kind of attach to what you just said about clout and just kind of. I know that's something clout and credit and these influence, scoring metrics. Can we get your free? I know you're connected with Clout pretty well. I think you know the founder, and just get your take on that whole measuring influence and what you think about that, and is there value, and just kind of get your take on all that stuff.
I think that kind of analysis, just like online networking influence. I think it's just part of a snapshot of the overall, like being like real offline and online stuff. Where I think too many people take like clout and credit like too seriously, where they're taking that as set in stone, but it's not. It's just part of all the different metrics,
Right.
Different companies use to like if you want to hire this guy or not hire this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Or don't depend at one thing 100%. Because it seems kind of, I guess, what's going on with this HR, people are hiring based on clout score. It's kind of scary a little bit. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's a lot of these people could have like fake followers. You could just buy followers and
Yeah, there's always ways to game the system.
all these
I think.
they have all these these apps that you could push out everybody else's buy people to push out your articles is not really legitimate a lot of times.
Yeah, that's a little.
That's a very good point there.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's more like a lot of the influencing and analytics services try to make it a science, and it's probably a little combination of both, a little bit of science, a little bit of art in trying to measure influence, and a little bit of feel. So it's, I guess there's no perfect way to do it, but that's interesting.
Yeah, but I also like how he said it though. It's like it can be a gauge,
Yeah,
but don't rely on it for
Yeah.
everything else.
absolutely.
Okay.
Speaking of influence and how social media has been maturing, there's a lot of people out there, and for full disclosure, including us, we work with one of the brands we work with is Verizon, and we see you working with a lot of brands. What are the key things to consider when accepting the role as a brand ambassador?
For such a brand, I mean, especially for you.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
because that's a big topic right now, and that, again, with this whole field growing and the opportunities coming on board, and brands really realizing the power of social media. What if people are interested in doing that and maybe getting involved in that? What are things to consider there?
If that product is a good fit for who I am, so I'm not gonna go to some kind of female girl stuff, whatever that's gonna fit who I am, right? I want to do stuff that that I like or I'm interested in. That's fun. Like even though I wasn't a car guy, that clout perk with the Audi and stuff like that, and I used to keep in contact with them and stuff like that. All these different car companies are like giving me cars, try out stuff like that. So even though I wasn't a guy car, like a guy on a
You
car,
were not gonna get it.
but now I am a kind of a car guy. 'Cause I like driving these cars; they're fun.
Yeah, it is.
Stuff like that. It's like even though it might not be in my niche, it's still a lot of people complain why people are giving me cars because that's not my thing, or I don't know anything about cars. But I'm at a point where it doesn't matter if I know cars or not cars. Like they're looking more for want to try it out and try a different experience.
But you do like cars. You like driving
Yeah.
it, so that's.
Oh, you're out in LA, so you got
Yeah.
hopefully, hopefully you like cars when you get around. But that's an
My
interesting.
next-
Go ahead.
So my next car, I guess, at the end of the month, is going to be a Honda.
Honda. Oh, very good.
Cross Tour.
Oh, you have to. You know what? You have to let me know how that is because I've driven Hondas for many years, and I have a 2004 Accord that is reaching end of life. So I actually looked at the looked at the Cross Tour. It's funny you mentioned that. So I'll definitely be watching your tweet stream, see what you think of that.
Yeah.
But that's very interesting. We agree. I mean, I think you have to be, very authentic in that as well. If you're going to be a brand ambassador, you don't want to just take something or promote something just to promote it if you're getting paid or getting free product. But I think you really have to, I think it helps if you really like the product or a user of the product and can believe in it, and that's something that, because there's plenty of, we've noticed it, and I'm sure you've noticed it, there are many opportunities out there and growing every day. So, if you're authentic and build your influence, I think you'll have the opportunities to do that. Speaking of influence again, and maybe some of the challenges, what are some of the challenges that you experience being an influential person? Because you're very well known. I could imagine what your DM box is like. And we talked a little bit about people sending requests and maybe feeling a little entitled, and maybe there may be some challenges there with having such an influential presence. How about for you? Any challenge that you experience?
I guess it's hard to trust some people sometimes because you don't know if they actually want to be your friend or they want to get into your circle.
Oh, that's a good point.
Especially with females. Though.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Calvin is the ladies' man.
This happened to me several times with women, so I don't know. It's like,
Wow.
do they like me or just they just want to get in my circle? And then like once you got into my circle, it's like they're like gone.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not good. So
But how do you overcome that kind of challenge?
That, and also, are there things to look out, like for the new person, because it can be very intimidating getting online and maybe you're building a following, and there's a lot of things out there that masquerade as as legitimate, as authentic. Are there signs that you look for as far as to kind of guard against that?
I guess when they try to friend all my other friends in my network, they start talking to them like if they're like best buddies or whatever.
Right.
Wow.
And they'll throw like my name in there or just to try to get in.
Just for them to look like they're part of your network, but not necessarily. They're just using.
It would like also it's been happening recently that people just like all my stuff, retweet all my stuff like over all the networks.
Right.
Wow.
So it seems a little like kind of creepy almost. Where
So it kind of creeps you out too.
Like liking everything.
Yeah, it looks a little
liking
obvious.
Everything.
I guess.
It's just like Googling plus liking everything, and
Wow.
he's over here too. Like,
oh man,
it's kind of creepy because if they don't talk to you, that's all they do. It's like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because I get that on Foursquare too. Have people like favoring like certain spots. Like
Seriously? Wow.
Who's this person?
Oh boy.
Stalking me?
That's very interesting. Yeah, probably stalking you.
Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness.
So
So
I don't worry as much because I'm not. If it was a female, then maybe it'd be different. But
But if it's
not
like
as bad, I guess, for a guy. I guess.
that's funny.
oh my goodness. See, so it sounds like you just kind of have to be observant, and if it doesn't smell right, then it's probably not right,
Yeah.
and
Because I used to like add like everybody. Now I'm kind of more cautious, like who I add in something, whatever. It's like, who is this guy? Or
yeah.
I chat like on friends.
Yeah,
on Facebook,
especially
just
someone like
friends.
you, I guess. Yes,
Yeah, if they're just trying to get in there.
they get
I mean,
in there, like be showing us like your friend, because it
Yeah.
kind of shows they're
Yeah, there's no shortcuts.
also
I mean,
a friend of a friend.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, there's no shortcuts. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the thing I tell people is it's no different than in real life before social media. When you meet someone, it takes time to build that relationship. You know, especially it's a little easier, I think, on social media to fool people because you can hide behind that avatar, and it's only, you know, on Twitter it can only be text. You could be putting anything in your bio and put anything up as your avatar, but I think the opportunity to meet people in person, I think that really is the equalizer, and at least you have a shot at determining.
And
what the
Calvin is
true-
always out there. Like
Yeah.
he's always going to tweet ups, and
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to meet Calvin, it's so easy. Just
Because I was never like
Right.
that before.
Oh, you weren't
I
like
was
that
never
before.
like that before at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I was-
I mean, but I
pretty
think,
shy. As a designer, I was pretty shy, and I just stayed behind the computer only.
yeah. I mean,
now
can
you're,
do,
you're
no.
going around, which is awesome.
yeah, it's funny.
Well,
Go ahead.
that's not my natural state. I guess I kind of in
Uh-huh.
the beginning I made myself go to those things, even though I feel uncomfortable
Mhm.
a little bit. But after a while, I kind of like you see the same people in the same groups, and then they kind of know you, and they start talking
Yeah.
to you. And
Yep.
start building that bond up and stuff like that. You just gotta have to like take a chance and.
Yeah,
Get
the
out there and
bond.
maybe-
Yeah, I guess it's the
So
bond.
even now, it's like because I stopped going out for a while because after a year I was going out every night
Mhm.
building that stuff or whatever. Then after that, I didn't really have to do it anymore because everybody kind of knew who I was.
Oh my goodness.
But then I got burned out a little bit, so I stopped going to events for quite a while.
Yeah.
But now it's like the scenery. It's like a little bit different. There, it's more like web TV and social, but it's more like celebrities and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more
Different.
entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like Silicon Beach and stuff like that. It's like it's a different feel. It's not the same anymore.
Right.
So I started going out, and then I kind of had to make myself go out there again because I didn't know any of those people anymore. A lot of people that were in social media, they're not even there anymore. They're not attending anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like get out there again and try. Even though I feel a little uncomfortable, I'm still better than I was before. I've kind of mingle a little bit better, or
Yeah.
go up to people and say, "Hey, I'm Calvin. Who are you?" That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm standing in a corner and just
Yeah, I mean,
my phone or whatever.
we can definitely identify. I mean,
Yes.
I know I can speak for myself. I know myself. I'm a natural introvert. I mean, it's not easy for me to get out there, but doing this video stuff and getting out there in person. I missed it. I think you're probably the same way.
Meeting up with people.
Yeah,
You
it
kind of
helps
like
to kind of break the ice, and you kind of have to force yourself out there a little bit. And if you can do it, there's so much benefit. You get to meet some great people and form great relationships, but you just gotta kind of break through the fear a little bit. And Cal, when you say that, I can definitely identify with that because I know we're very much the same way,
Right.
But I think social networking has helped us. I know it's helped me tremendously to kind of break out of that a little bit, and doing things like this on video and just kind of forcing yourself into it, and you get a little more comfortable. And it's a gradual process, but it's still tough. One quick last question, because I know we're coming up to, I think we're just passing the 30-minute mark here. The future of social, and I'm just kind of throwing this out here. Do you have any views or any opinions on where you think things are going? Is there, I'll give you an example. Video is becoming pretty big right now.
and
Everyone's
also
seeing-
podcasting.
and podcasting. Do you see any trends, from where you sit as far as social networking, or maybe, are networks that we're familiar with now, are they going to last, or is there something new on the horizon? How do you see it?
I don't know. It's like Google Plus is good, but I don't know. I just know about Google Plus. I don't know. It's like I don't seem like I have that much engagement on there.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the video. I think this videos will continue to grow and stuff like that. And I don't know. You just have to kind of like roll with the punches. Even though I don't like video, I might have to start doing video
Right.
because you get more. You just get more views and just people are more interested. They're not. People are like, they'd rather just watch a video than just read a lot of text on a site and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You could have pictures, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Like
I've been fighting video for a long time because I'm not really like a video person.
Right.
I'm more of a picture person. But
I just wanted to let you know we are getting a lot of feedback. Later on, you can just on Twitter hashtag PDV Live. You'll see a lot of people are interested in getting to know you and watching you on video. So maybe
you're doing great.
Maybe you should give that a second chance.
Yeah, we'll have you back sometime too. I mean, absolutely. Or when we meet up with you again sometime, hopefully soon in person, we'll have to do some video or whatever. So yeah, but you do great, And we found that the more you do it, the better you get, and the more comfortable you get. So it's been great. It's been good for us.
I'm fine when I'm doing like a one-on-one with somebody, but if I do it. If I'm talking to myself, if I'm just doing a podcast or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we.
Yeah, that's why we do this.
Yeah,
I guess it's because it's much easier if you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And featuring more of them than us
just talking by ourselves. We could certainly try that, but I think it's much more interesting when you have a discussion and bring other people in. I mean, the whole thing of what we do online is we want to highlight other people, and the podcast we put out, Inspiring Connections, that's the whole title, Inspiring Connection. We like to connect people with other people. Exactly. Yep. And let people
we would just want to thank Jason, Charlie, we have Jessica, we have Ann Tran.
Wow. The whole crew.
And we have Social Plus, we have Sarah. And then we also have...
Calvin, you track them all there.
Yeah, track a lot.
This is the most engagement we've gotten on this show.
On a live show.
I know Sunday nights can be a little tough for a lot of people. That's why we present it in a recorded form as well. But this is pretty good. There's a lot of people interested, and I think that speaks to you, Cal, as far as how you are online. And I will say this, to kind of close up our part of it, and then after that, we want to hear where people can find you. But I will say from our vantage point, you set a tremendous example. You what you see is what you get. How you are in person is how you are online. You've always been extremely helpful and really just a great, nice
very
guy.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that people who want to, get online, follow Cal.
Yeah, at Mayhem Studios.
Mayhem Studios on Twitter. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and plus he's just a good guy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's ultimately that's really what matters. You're real and you're authentic. I mean, that's really the whole thing.
And then tell us where people can find you, Cal.
Most of the time on Twitter, it's at Mayhem Studio, at Mayhem Studios. And my website is also mayhemstudios.com. And you can find me, it's Mayhem Studios on all social media networks. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Except for Facebook, it's Calvin Lee, right?
Yeah. I think. Yeah, it's not by choice. So I think they got rid of the vanity ones. Maybe I guess they converted it back again. I don't know, jumping back and forth.
I will make sure though that we put all your social media sites that you're on our show notes, so that whoever wants to follow you can follow you there.
Yep, very easily. Find you. Well, that was a fast 30 minutes.
I know. I want to hear more, but
it was fun. It was fun though.
Cal, thanks very much for coming on with us. We really appreciate your time and your expertise. Wasn't that a great episode with Calvin Lee?
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing with Cal is he's the same online as he is offline. What you see is what you get, and that's really the best way to be, and I think that's a really good tip for people that are new or even people that have been online for a time.
What resonated with me in the conversation with Calvin is like, you really need to be helpful. Kindness goes a long way.
Yep, don't be afraid to be helpful. It comes right back to you. It really does. And I think,
especially like when he said it too, that he never really expects anything in return.
Yeah, I think that's a very important. That's a very important tip.
Good lesson. Yeah,
very good lesson. So I think that'll do it for another edition of Inspiring Connections. But before we go, we do want to mention our sponsor, furrysketches.com, and I know you could talk to that.
Furrysketches.com is a place for inspiration. It's also a place where you can get custom pet portrait for yourself.
And you're the illustrator.
Yeah, or for your friends as a gift.
Makes a great gift. Mother's Day coming up.
And also, it's if they do want to order, all they have to do is go to furrysketches.com/order. And it costs $35.
And all we require is a clear photograph of your pet. And you draw right from that.
Yes, and then they just need to wait like 3 to 5 business days.
And we just send them by email. And we've been getting we get a lot of dogs.
Yeah, and cats now.
And now we're getting some, this a few episodes back. We needed to see some cats, and we're getting some cats, which is great. But I think you'll take other pets too, right?
Yes.
If they have pet monkeys or pet, I don't know what. Who knows?
Pet parrot.
Who knows what I'm saying? If we say that, who knows what we're gonna get, right? So we got to be careful. Oh boy.
Exactly.
So furrysketches.com, everyone, for the best in pet portraits, and I know Misty personally draws each one. So check it out today. I think that'll do it, right?
Yep.
So please join us next week for another edition of Inspiring Connections.
Yes, and every Sundays, don't forget.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me.
Podjam TV Live.
Yes.
It's 8:30.
That's our live video show.
That's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
And we use Google Plus Hangouts for that.
That they can follow the conversation and they can ask questions using the hashtag PTV Live.
Right. And you can find the show at podjam.tv/live. It's embedded there.
And for people listening to or watching the video, if you want to listen to the podcast instead, you can download it through iTunes or through
Stitcher.
Yes.
Stitcher Radio. I know a lot of people use that as well. And that's at all the podcast information's at podjam.tv/inspiring connections. And it's all right there for you.
Yes.
Excellent. I think that'll do it. Thanks, everyone, for listening, for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Go.